Alright, so I got some Poxwalkers here. I did them very simply and easily. You can see it's just a few colors and some technical paints and a wash or two. So you start on with white primer, and then you do, for all your detail, well, first you do washes. You do a Athonian camel shade over like 2/3 of the model, leaving the arms white. And then you do Druchii violet. And then I'll go through all this. And then you paint all your stuff. These are the paints you're going to need, actually. And then you need a light brown, a dark brown, which are Rhinox hide and Mornfang brown, but any light brown and dark brown will work. And then you need a light gray and a dark gray. So your dark gray is going to be Mechanicus standard gray, and your light gray is going to be Administratum gray right here. And then you need Seraphim sepia that goes over the whole thing. A yellow for all the boils. And then a metal, which I use lead belcher, but you can use any gun metal. And then the technical paint you need is Nurgle's Rot. But those are all the paints you need to get started, and here I'm going to go right into it. Okay, so the first step on these, they were primed with white. Any white will do. I use Corax white from Games Workshop, but it really doesn't matter. Just a good white spray paint. And now I'm going to do Athonian Camo Shade. I've already got it open. Right there. Games Workshop Athonian Camo Shade. And you just do it right in the middle. Just don't do it too dark or too low. You just get a little on, enough to cover it, and get the detail in. I'll do that on both sides, right to about there. You can see I'm just doing it in the middle. The rest of it we're going to do another wash on, but we're going to do that the very last step. So for most of this, it's going to be white arms and green in the middle, and then I'll do another wash once this dries. You can let it pool. Most of the time you don't want to let it pool, but in this case it'll actually look fine because he's rotted and diseased and it really doesn't matter. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to come back in a bit and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so now the Poxwalker is completely dry. That's the first step. So he's completely dry. Now I'm going to do Druchii violet. I'm just doing this straight out of the pot. This time we're not going to go quite as much on there, so I'm just focusing on the very middle. So it does blend well with the green, and you just do it in the very center. So you still want that green to be showing on the edges. And there we go, just like that. It just adds some extra pallid skin to it. And now we're going to let that dry, and we'll come back and we'll do another layer. Okay, so now that these dry with those two layers, I would put a third wash on. There's actually a third wash required, but it's good to give some detail to the model. So I'm going to do that wash last, but I'm going to do this first. So you really just need a very limited palette for the other colors. Like here you're going to need a metal, which is just one color, which is really quick. Of course, you got to paint all the way up, but for the cloth and stuff, you don't need too much. So here I'm going to do a Rhinox hide, which is really dark brown. You just need to show the definition in that. Or you could do a gray, or you can do an off-white, or a red, any color you want to add to that, but you need to paint on little bits and bobs. So he'll have this bit of cloth here that you can paint, and then he'll have his pouches, which you can do with Mornfang brown, just like that. You just need to add color to everything else. And it really just takes two colors for all the cloth bits, and then of course the metal. And it doesn't have to be perfect either. You don't really have to worry. And here's another color. This is a Mechanicus standard gray. You can see I'm not trying to be perfect either. The next wash is going to cover up a lot of the mistakes I'm making. And on top of that, it'll either look like torn cloth or rotted cloth. You don't have to be perfect at all. In fact, being a little imperfect is actually a good thing here. He's got some like clasps and stuff here. I'm just going to hit those with a metal. Little bands and bangles that are nice in the symbol of Nurgle. Little things they added to this model that are just great. But I'm going to finish this bit up, and then I'm going to do something extra to add to it to bring out all that little detail. So So there we go. All the pouches and the metal arm is good. But you can see there's a lot of detail left, and we're going to hit that here in just a second. Alright, so for this part, I've got a Everland Sunset, and then an Off-White, which is Rakarth Flesh. So, the Everland Sunset's really easy. So you see all these little boils and stuff? You just paint each one separately, where you find them. It's okay if they're on the legs, the arms, and you don't have to paint all of them. You just try to find ones that stick out more than the others, because it does add a lot extra to the model to do it. And then on the back he's got some. There's a big one here, one there, a couple little ones, some here. Alright, that's it. That's all you need, just a little accent. These come together. And then that Rakarth Flesh is for all the little tentacles / maggots that are on his body. Just want it to look different than the regular skin. So you're going to paint each tentacle separate. And the reason for that is we're going to do two things. The final wash is going to be a glossy wash, so it won't really bring out the detail there. And then on top of that, we're going to do a technical paint to really bring it out. And this also contrasts against the skin. So we do it for a few reasons. But it's really quick and easy. You just do that one layer. And because the Rakarth Flesh is a base paint, it covers up really well. And then there are like tentacles and maggots and stuff in here. And then they're really picked out against that dark background from that purple wash. There we go. Cool. That's it for that. Oh, no, he's got a couple of tentacle fingers and a tentacle toe. There we go. A little bit of a difference. And I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to do the final wash and the technical paint, and we'll be done. Alright, so he is done to that stage. There's only one final step left, and that is a Reikland Flesh Shade Gloss Wash. The gloss washes from Games Workshop are actually really awesome if used the right way. They don't work quite the same way as a regular wash in terms of color. With metals, they stay really bright and shiny. They don't dull the metal like a regular wash does. And on these, it'll only lightly accent it compared to a regular wash. It's not quite, it doesn't seem to be quite as thick, at least to me. But it does change it nicely. So I'm doing that for a nice, like, pale skin on some of it, and then to make the metal look a little more weathered and dull. You could use, if you didn't want a gloss effect, you could go for like a sepia wash. But that's really it. So we're gonna finish this up here, and then there's one final touch after this. But that's really it. I mean, you can see the effect that's done. It just looks really good and, well, gross. But pretty neat. That's all it took. So there's that step, and we're got a couple more steps and then we're done. Alright, so now he's dry. He's still very shiny and icky, and you can see where it's like pooled in places and still looks wet. It's an effect I really like. They do a Nuln Oil gloss as well, and an Agrax Earthshade wash, a gloss wash. So if you wanted to go darker or more brown, you totally could. I just prefer the Flesh Shade for this, because it leaves the skin a little bit brighter, a little whiter. So the next set, because we have his like guts hanging out here and all the tentacles, I'm going to do Nurgle's Rot Technical Paint. So just remember to shake this up. It does kind of separate in the pot. So just shake it up a little bit. Now there you go, nice and thick. So it is semi-transparent. I'm going to prop that open. Don't forget there's a little tab here, especially on washes. You pop that tab up, and then it stays open. So I'm going to get my wash brush. Same one I used before. So you get a pretty good glob of it on there. And then you just kind of add it where you need to. And just have it like spilling out. And then on his tentacles, I'll just put it on the tips. give this little green accent. And the horn and his little tentacles here and his foot. There you go. That's really the color that adds that extra little oomph to, like, it needs something to make it pop, so that's what that's for. That's it. It's pretty good. There he is. Really, really quick and easy Poxwalkers. And like I said, just changing up that wash if you're going to go with a black, or you can go with the sepia. I like the sepia myself just because it makes it look a little dirtier, a little grimier, but it doesn't give it that gloss. So you can do both. You do a sepia and then a flush shade gloss. But it really just depends on where you want to take it from there. But that's really it for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Alright, so there's one final part to this that I wanted to show you guys, which is this nice green, like, sludge at the bottom of the base. Now, I'm going to go into that really quickly, but I want to show you how I do the rest of the basing first. And it's not really showing you, but just showing you the materials I use. So, this is Vallejo Thick Mud. It dries nice and glossy and slick. Does take a little while to dry. Put it in front of a fan, give it an hour, it'll be dry. And then I did a dry brush on top of that with Mornfang Brown. Oh, that's what gives it this nice icky brown look. And then, now I've already got some mixed here. You can kind of see it on my palette here. So all I did was take about 4/5, so 80% Nurgle's Rot, and then just a little dab of Moot Green. That's all I did. And then you can see how it goes on. Basically, the Moot Green just makes it thicker and gives it that brighter green tint, and then you just dab it on. It'll dry glossy just like the Nurgle's Rot. That's it. I just wanted to do that. It's a really nice touch to these, and I wanted to show you that right at the very end. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.